All right, everyone. I'm really excited today. We have Bruce Battleson here with us, and I'd love to tell you more about him, but I'm going to let him kind of make the introduction. Someone's been in the industry for a very long time, so Bruce, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, cool. Well, thanks for having me here. I have been 31 years in the DJ business, and so I've seen a lot of changes and still going strong. Career full-time DJ, and this is basically the only job I've ever had.
What's something that said, hey, I want to DJ first of all, and then I want to DJ full-time. So tell us about that.
Well, when I was 14, I went to a quinceañera, and they had some really good DJs there, and that was the first time I had ever seen good DJs doing their thing, and I was just thunderstruck, and I decided then and there that I had to do that no matter what. That was what I was going to do.
Nice. And I know that you had a different road path that was this was the way you were supposed to go, and you decided to go in the DJ direction. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was supposed to be a doctor. Everybody in my family is medical, and I really was very bad at math and science and really good with music. And so I had a conversation with my dad, and he said, figure out what you love and do it well, and don't worry about the money and don't worry about anything else, just do what you love and do it well. And my mom completely disagreed, but thankfully I listened to my dad.
And then that's interesting, because everyone out there is going to get a different perspective when they come home and they tell their parents, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to DJ, and then we all have different perspectives of DJing, right? So it was really nice to get that welcoming, like, if you want to do that, go ahead and go after it, right? Because most people don't get that, right? So there are different types of DJing, right, that can happen. What is the path that you chose as far as DJing is concerned?
Well, for me, originally it was because of my love of music that I, first got really interested in it, and so I was 14 and I was doing parties for 14-year-olds, and so we all liked the same music, and I was the one that had some equipment that could play it loud and proud, and I joined a bunch of music services where you they were record clubs, and so back then it was records, and so I had the music and I had the gear and I had the friends, and so I was the guy, and so that's how it started. And after a couple of years of doing it for free, I decided to try to make a little bit of money at it, and so I started charging $10 an hour and printed up some business cards and did a little bit of advertising in the local paper, and pretty soon I started getting calls for other things besides just parties for young people, and so I had to broaden my horizons, musically, in order to be able to get paid to DJs.
And I want to touch on something that you just said, because it's really interesting. So DJs nowadays, right? You want to be a DJ, you need a couple of things. You need music, and you need a place to play your music, right? Now, when you first got started, you're just talking about record clubs, right? It's a whole different ballgame, because back then, DJ's perspective was the DJ that has sometimes the best equipment, sometimes the DJ that has the best music selection. And when you talk about music selection back then, it was a totally different story than today, right?
Yeah. We had to go hunt for music. So you had to first, figure out what you wanted, and then you had to go try to find it. And so you had to go to different record stores and music stores and dig through all their stuff and try to find what you're looking for. So there were times when a song had come out and be hot and everybody wanted it, and you'd have to go to 5 or 6 music stores to be able to find it.
And it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, and it was expensive. I spent all of my extra money on music.
Yes.
Just all of it. And now it's, iTunes, one click, done. So,
and you have it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can even do it on the day of and be like, hey, you need to request a song? Oh, we changed the song? Here you go. Boom. And you're ready to go. And I think that's one big thing that's changing on the industry. So if you're just getting started, I think, and we always get asked this question, what kind of music do you play, right? You get asked that question every single time almost. And it's really important that I don't think that the industry has shifted and moved in a different direction now. It's not like, what music do you play? Is how well do you play the music, probably, I would say. And then also, amongst other things, like how good is your emceeing skills, and we'll talk about all the other stuff, right? But it's more about, like, what can you do with what you have? Does that sound right now? Because you can actually get Spotify, you can get whatever iTunes and everything to get the music. It's about how you put it together, right?
Yeah. There's so much to that. We can spend an hour just talking about that. But I mean, there are DJs out there that do weddings every weekend. That almost all of the DJs have the same music, the same equipment, and they're playing the same songs. And so some of those guys are making a little bit of money, and some of those guys are making a ton of money, and a lot of it depends on all the other parts of it. So music now is automatic, expected. You're expected to have everything and play the hits, and you're expected to have really good equipment. So you can have the best equipment, so what? Everybody else has the best equipment too, and you can have all the hits. Everybody has all the hits, and so you have to do a lot more than that now. And in the old days, you had to play it. You had to have the music and play it loud, and the louder you were, the better you were. And now all that stuff's just a given. Yes. And it goes a lot deeper than that now.
So since we are on hits, this is a really good kind of point to talk about, and we'll talk about this a little further in the video as well. But let's talk about hits for a second. For anyone that doesn't know, and if you're getting into the industry, it's important for you to know that you can actually purchase a license, and you can be able to manage your clients through licensing, right? That you're getting from someone, and you might pay a monthly fee for it, something like that. And what they're going to do for you is they're going to provide you with like a top 200, a top 300, whatever it might be, right? Which is it's a very interesting conversation to have, because a lot of the times, what is that number based on, right? We always wonder, like, what are these top 100, top 200 are based on? And something that Bruce has really been working on, it's a very good and valid point, is he's been working on an actual music that gets played and suggestions by great DJs, right?
Yep.
So most planners that you choose to subscribe for, and you get a membership of monthly, then they're going to give you a recommendation based on what was played, right? But not necessarily of what DJs are seeing out there, and it's actually being great music, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working on this project for 4 years. It's called Bride Sanity, and a big part of what we do is identify what songs are working at weddings right now to get people on the dance floor. So a lot of the other software out there is the brides decide how the songs are ranked, and it's all based on bride requests, but brides are not DJs. And so what happens is that those lists get very heavy with chick songs, and so you have lots of Taylor Swift songs and lots of songs that girls like to listen to on the radio when they're driving around, and that doesn't translate to populating the dance floor at a wedding. And so I call it the code group, and I have several career wedding DJs, and we communicate with each other and decide what our best 100 songs are on any given week for having the best chance of getting people on the dance floor and dancing. And so that is what's completely different about our system, and it's designed to help brides pick better music. And if the brides pick better music, then the DJs get to play better music, and more people dance. Brides are happy, DJs are happy. You get more referrals, bigger tips, nicer reviews. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins, exactly. And let's talk about winning for a second. I also want to, the reason I have Bruce here is I want to talk about how you grew your company from you to having multiple people, right? At one point you had maybe over 20 people, does that sound right?
We had 8 full-time DJs plus an office staff plus a warehouse staff. I think we were at 14.
14, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you grow to that number? And because there are DJs out there that want to grow their business to saying, hey, I want to have 100 people, whatever it might be, and they want to be a big DJ company. So how do they build a company from just being themselves to now multiplying that to 8 and then 14 total?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy, and there's a lot of competition, especially now. I mean, everybody's a DJ, yes. And so the way we did it was we systemized all of our processes as much as we could. So we had all of our equipment was the same. We had a company uniform of special tuxedos that we wore that they were all the same, and we had really, really good marketing, really, really good salesmen. We spent a lot of money on what our print advertising was going to look like, on our logos, on our pictures. We had a super nice office in Newport Beach that was, ultra professional, like you were walking into a law firm or something. And so we did every single thing that we could as good as it could possibly be done. And that helped a lot. But I think bottom line is I was very, very careful about the people that I hired, and I made sure that my guys were extremely likable. And so I didn't go out and hire DJs. Everybody that we brought in was not a DJ. I would go out and hire people that had really outgoing personalities, really good looking guys, really good smiles, and then I trained them to be one of my DJs. So we all made our announcements the same way, did our setups the same way, played our music the same way, and we had a very consistent product throughout all of our guys.
And I think that's really important. A lot of the times, we focus on like, hey, we need a good DJ, and everybody thinks a great DJ is the one that plays the best music, right? But even the largest corporations, a lot of the times that they say that you hire for attitude first, and then you can teach somebody something else, right? Because once you are able to, like as you're saying, teach them and systematically have a system for everyone to learn and to put out there, then you know that the product is being consistent, right?
Yeah, it's not about music at all. It's music. You have to do 100 things perfectly to have an opportunity to play music. So if you're not an expert at marketing and an expert at running a business and an expert at management and hiring and all that stuff, you don't even have a chance to even get to the point where you get to play music.
So there you go, guys. It's not about how good of a DJ you are. It's about how to getting the right people in the right places and helping them build this team, right? So tell us about some challenges that you faced over the years. You've been in it for longer than anyone I personally know in the industry. So how did you, what were some of your challenges that you went through? And are you still facing some, I'm assuming you're still facing challenges today.
Yeah. Biggest challenge for me has always been being taken seriously. So it's constantly people saying, "Oh, you're a DJ. Oh, that must be fun. Oh, that's cute. You're a DJ. So what do you do during the week? And oh, so you must be married and your wife must make a lot of money because DJs don't make any money." On and on and on and on, and then my significant others, people talking to them. What do you mean your husband's a DJ? What do you mean your boyfriend's a DJ? What's his real job? And so it's constantly your whole. Even my mom gave me a hard time about it. just constantly people looking down on you. And then when I had some good success, I went and bought a very nice Porsche 911. And so I was driving around Newport in my Porsche 911, is celebrating some of my success, and everybody thought I was a drug dealer. So
you were doing just some drug deals when you were a DJ, and hey, here, take some of this so you can get on the dance floor.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So have a thick skin. Get ready for nobody to ever take you seriously for the rest of your life if you choose this as your career.
Now, so here's what's interesting too. I think the industry did shift a while back ago, and we did notice this, thanks to like Pinterest and everything else that's out there, right? Before, a DJ would have to hustle and work quite a bit to make a good living, right? We all know that. We've all seen what DJs are carrying, what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. And I think a big transformation happened in the 2000s and a little bit afterwards, where our industry just blew up. It just grew to the point where a DJ can now take 6 figures home, right? And it was a possibility. And I think that's what everybody needs to know. If you're inspiring yourself and you're thinking like, how do I do this? Or can I make a living of my passion? Yes, you can. Because a lot of people out there are doing that. There's a lot of DJs in the industry that have built their value to getting to that level. And a quick note, like the way we find out who great DJs are or great DJ companies are is when you're in the industry and you're trying to get into the top venue that you think it's a top venue for you and you want to get into it. When you look on that list and you find some of these guys that have been in there for 15, 20 years, that's how you know they've built value for themselves, right? And you do have quite a few places that are still referring to you after all these many years, right?
Yeah. The first place that put me on their list, I got on my first list in 1987, and so we're 31 years later, still on the same list.
Still on the same list.
Yeah, in fact, I just booked something there yesterday. There's nothing better than a venue referral. If you are a DJ on a venue preferred list, that is gold for forever, and don't screw it up. Like you will make so much money from doing that. There's nothing better.
So a venue referral, can we tell them what a venue referral is?
Yes, so a venue referral is every venue has a preferred vendor list. The people operating that venue hand the list to the bride once she books that place for her wedding, and it has the venue's favorite vendors from DJ and florist and photographer, etc. And so that if you can make it onto one of those lists, that's gold.
And now some of these lists though do take a lot of effort and hard work to get into them, right? Because I know that there's DJs out there still trying to get into venues and they can't. Some of it has to do with consistency. Sometimes it has to be with how many times you play there, maybe how good you are, that the right people, the right eyes are recommending you as well to the venue, right?
Yeah. And sometimes it's just luck too.
Sometimes it's just luck.
One of my best venues. I worked there on a Saturday night, and their main DJ was there the night before, and he screwed up, and he had been kind of screwing up, and so I was the next DJ they saw after they were sick of their guy, and I did a good job, and they liked me, and so boom, that guy's gone. I was in and been in ever since. So that does happen, and sometimes you just gotta you just got to keep trying. One of my venues, it took me 3 years to get an appointment to talk to them about possibly trying out to be one of their guys on their list. I had to go at it for 3 years, and some of it is location. And so if you, for example, if you really want a certain venue that you feel like you match up great with it, and you've done some stuff there, you love working there, and it seems like a good match, then ideally your business address would be located near that venue, so that when random clients are searching on Yelp and stuff, your stuff's going to come up first, and then you're going to have more opportunities. Even if you're not on that list, you're going to have more opportunities to work there. And then when you work there, you better show up super extra early, and then you'll have an hour to charm everybody before the hard work starts of actually, getting ready for the group to come in. And then if you get any inquiries for that venue, do whatever you can to book it, even if you have to give them a huge discount, and just keep getting your face in front of those people over and over again. And eventually their other DJs will screw up, and you'll have an opportunity at some point.
Yes.
Even if it takes years.
And I think that's one of the things that that's really important, right? We don't be afraid. If you have an amazing event, do not be afraid to go in there and make relationships, right? If you go into a venue and your coordinator was awesome, your florist got there on time, everything happened perfectly, your videographer, photographers, you guys shot an amazing wedding, take the time to connect with these people, because obviously that team worked really well together. Connect with them, connect with the venue, and they might actually want to work with you, but it's about having that conversation and asking, how do I get on the list, right? It's a great question to ask.
Yeah, you gotta try. And a lot of times they're going to shut you down because they get hit up every single day. So that every day they're getting calls from DJs to get on their list. So it's gonna take some effort and some talent, but it can be done.
And I'll add to that, which was really interesting. So DJs, you name the trade, they all go to the venues and they send them an email and they're calling them to be on the list. The interesting thing, and then no one really takes me up on this, is not very many DJs, in our case, go to the venue physically, show up, knock on their door, talk to someone face to face. The last time I asked a venue, how many times do people call you and want to work with you? They said a bunch, like 10 times a week, right? I said, how many actually come and knock on your door and really want to talk to you? And they said, you're the first one who's come up.
That's
so
great. Yeah.
Guys, if you really want to work, if you really want to be successful, if you really want to make six figures, which is not hard, by the way, knock on the door. Okay, it's that simple. What advice would you give a young DJ who's just getting started and says, hey, what are some of the things I need to work on first to become a great DJ?
Well, from a marketing standpoint, you've got to say thank you a lot to everybody. You have to be super appreciative and humble, and say thank you, send thank you cards, and have people love you. And if they love you, things will go good for you. And if you treat them like a paycheck, then not so much. But if you are so good to them and they love you so much that they want you to be part of their family, then you're in good shape. They're going to refer you to people, and things are going to go good. So I would say number one rule for sure is be the humble, appreciative, thankful guy, because the 90% of your competition is going to be super cocky, and that doesn't get you too far.
And you've had a long journey getting into this industry. Did you have a mentor that helped you along the way? And how did that ship go if you did have somebody?
So when we first started, there were very few DJs, and so really, starting in the '80s, most people hired bands for their weddings, and so the DJs, we were just kind of starting out, so nobody really knew what they were doing, and a couple of people started being a little bit more successful, but literally everybody was trying everything to see what was going to work, and it was just a bunch of us music lovers that we had no idea what we were doing. People were hiring bands. The bands didn't have any idea what they were doing either. So you had a bunch of people with nobody not knowing anything about what they were doing. So what we kind of noticed was there was one company that started systemizing pretty good, and their name was Good Vibrations, and they had a fleet of vans, and all their equipment was the same, and their DJs dressed the same, and so that was like a big inspiration, because they were actually the first company that actually ran it like a business, and everybody else didn't run it like that. And so that was really interesting. And while that was going on, I met a guy by the name of Eric Williams, and he was kind of breaking some barriers with how much he was getting paid to do weddings. And I'll never forget, he had a gold-plated microphone, and he was really good on the mic, and he was the most successful wedding DJ at the time that I had ever heard of. And so I contacted him, and I introduced myself to him, and I said, hey, I want to be like you someday, and so I'll be your roadie for free. Will you teach me? And he said, yeah, sounds good. And so I started hanging around with him, and he told me, he's like, if you want to make money, you need to be a good MC. And you can't just play music and be the best player of music. You have to be a really good MC, or you're not going to get anywhere in this business. And you're going to have to do weddings, and you're going to have to be a really good MC. And so he taught me how to be one, because I was extremely shy and was terrified of the microphone. But that was the price I was going to have to pay to stay in the business. So I did it.
I love that. And I think this is something you can take no matter what industry you're in. Honestly, if you want to be the best artist, if you want to be the best, you name it, whatever it is that you want to be in this world, it really takes you putting some effort into whatever it is that you want to get into in order to get something out of it, right? In his case, he decided to say, hey, listen, I will do whatever you want me to do for free, giving him like, what do you need me to do? I'll carry your cables, whatever, pack your car, whatever it is you need me to do for free. Because he knew that the benefit was going to be greater for him later in the future, right? I mean, look at him now. These many years into it, and look what he's done with himself, right? He's building this awesome site, which we're going to talk about here right now. But you guys, put some effort into whatever it is that you want to be, even if you have to do it for free and do whatever it is that you need to do, and it will come back to you. Interesting, similar story, right? My mentor at the time, and I didn't even know he was my mentor. I was DJing at like LA Fitness, playing, and then back then I didn't have a lot of money, so I had like 10 records, and I kept, one of them had 10 tracks, the other one had 5 or whatever. I kept going back and forth, so people heard like Blue Can Trail like 7 times or something through the workout, right? This guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, you want to buy some equipment? And I was like, no. And he goes, you should come to my place. And that was my first mentoring, right? Like he basically said, like, you need help, but let me just kind of sidetrack you for a little bit. And again, I did exactly what you did. I put in a lot of work, went on the road with him, learned about everything he did and the way he put his songs together and the way he blended them together, and that's how I learned. So exactly right, you got to put in the work. So let's talk about one thing that you're really focusing on. I think it's amazing what you're doing, by the way, but I want everyone to know about it. Let's talk about Bright Zanity. So Tell us a little bit about what it is and how you came up with the concept.
Yeah, sure. So the concept was born out of frustration because I've done over 2,000 weddings personally. My company's done over 4,000 weddings, and we very often would have problems where everybody was not on the same page. So we would have a timeline that we created. The venue would have a timeline. The photographer would have a timeline, and none of them matched up. And so we had constant problems with people not being on the same page. And a lot of times, the bride would tell one person one thing and then make a change and forget to tell the other people the same thing. And so that got frustrating to the point where I got together with a software developer, and we developed a site where the bride can have all of her information that everybody needs, and it's all in one place. And so instead of the bride having to tell 10 different people who the maid of honor is and 10 different people when the start time is and all that, it's all in one place.
And one of the things that I liked is, so you're kind of starting with a core group of individuals, right? Which is where your background is DJing. And one of the things that I really like about what he's built here is that it's based around the couple, right? So it's not just about, here's some music to play, here's a timeline, let's get this show on the road. He's really building it around the couple, really getting to know them, right?
Yeah, so one thing that I've noticed in my career is the more information I have, the better job I can do, and the more my clients respond well to what I've been able to do for them. So over the years, first, I had 1 page of notes, and then I had 2 pages of notes, and pretty soon I had 5 pages of questions, and with Bride Sanity we have over 150 questions, and so that we ask a lot of questions that can be very important. We ask about their relationships with their parents, and if there's any divorces or remarriages, or if anybody has passed away, or if there's any family members you don't get along with, where are you going on your honeymoon? I mean, just all kinds of stuff, and that helps us do a better job. When you know what the bride's religion is, and how old she is, and what she does for a living, and what her relationship is with her parents, and that she has an evil twin sister that she doesn't get along with, and that her fiance's dad just left the mom for somebody, and on and on and on. If you're armed with that kind of information, you can show up and do a really nice job and be sensitive to all that crazy stuff going on without embarrassing yourself or anybody else, and trying to make people dance together that don't like each other and stuff like that. So information is power.
And as you guys heard it, right, which is really interesting, like, we all think of DJing as these guys that come in and play music, and especially in weddings. So we're talking more about a DJ who's specializing in weddings, right? But the information is so powerful, and when you get out there and you start really focusing on, like, hey, how do I create an experience out of this event, which is what we're talking about here? It doesn't happen by the best mix. It doesn't happen by, when you cut the song in or anything like that. It happens by having this information available and then utilizing it to your advantage and being able to use that weapon when you're out there, right?
Yeah, and a lot of it is just the relationship that you're establishing with the bride and groom, and helping them, but in as much as you can with all the different aspects of their reception. And I mean, basically, that with a wedding, the DJ is going to have a successful event or not before the first song is played. It's you either won or lost before you even play the first song. So if they love you before you even start, and you show up on time and you're looking good and your equipment's perfect and everything's set perfect and you're nice and early and calm and cool and collective and meeting everybody in person and continuing that relationship, you already won. You haven't even played your first song yet. You already won. They don't even care if you can mix or not or anything. It's already done.
Yes, I think that's really important to learn. I mean, building that rapport before you even get in there. I mean, anything could happen, right? Malfunction of equipment, you name it, all this kind of stuff could happen. I don't know, somebody can steal your clothes from the restroom and you're DJing or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, like, if you built that great rapport with that bride and that groom, they're going to be forgiving of certain things, right?
Yeah. That's such a big point. And I used to tell my DJs that all the time. If they consider you a friend, they're going to forgive you if you make a mistake. And if they don't consider you a friend, then they might not.
Right.
And everybody can forgive a friend for making a mistake, and every human can make a mistake. But if you have built up all that equity before that mistake is made, then they're gonna let it slide, and they're still gonna love you.
That's right. So Bruce, how do they get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
Best would be bridesanity.com, and you can get to bridesanity.com and enter in your information, and we'll be in touch.
All right, guys. So you guys heard it. We want to thank Rec Room Video. So hashtag Rec Room Video if you guys want to look them up. Also, we are Solo Records Production OC, and we'll be bringing you tons of content. Okay, so if you guys have comments or questions, put them on there. If you guys want to see somebody here be interviewed and want to learn about them, please do put that information below, because we are here to provide quality information to everyone who's out there today. So Bruce, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
we enjoyed you, and I think that we can't wait to see what Bright Sanity has to offer later.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Right.